Hello and welcome to another test review. This is your exponent test review. So this is going over all the different exponential properties. And again, just like all your other assignments in this unit, you should have positive and negative exponents for your answers. You'd have two answers. Now let's review all these different rules that we have talked about in this unit. Okay, zero exponents. Anything to the power of zero is always one, right? Doesn't matter what number it is, if it's 5 billion or whatever number, just put a bunch of zeros and then raise it to the zero power. It would be one. Okay, no matter what it is, anything to zero power is one. Okay, the negative exponents are changing the sign of your exponent. You just change it across the fraction bar, right? If you want to change the sign, you just move it across the fraction bar and the exponent will change sign, right? It's the same number. 3 to the negative 2 is the same as 3 to the second, or 9, right? 9 is the same as, or 3 to the second is the same as 1 over 3 to the negative 2. It just flips across the fraction bar. It's the same thing. If you plug them both in your calculator, you're going to get 9 as your answer. Okay? Then we have our multiplying exponent rule. Again, you just add the exponents. So like 4 to the third times 4 to the fifth is 4 to the eighth, right? 3 plus 5 is 8. The base stays the same. You just add the exponents. Okay? Then we have the dividing exponent rule, and that's where you just subtract the exponents. So it's the top number minus the bottom. So this could be 1 over 6 to the third, or it could be written as 6 to the negative third, right? You just subtract the exponents. So 2 minus 5 is negative 3, or if I flip it across the fraction bar, it would be 1 over 6 to the third. Okay? Then, power of powers, this is where you just multiply the exponents, right? So if I have 5 to the second times 5 to the third, all being raised to the fourth power, I could distribute that 4, multiply both the exponents by 4, and that's like saying 5 to the eighth times 5 to the 12th. And then if I want to simplify that more, I'd add them, right, because they're multiplying. So it would be 5 to the 20th power. Okay, so that's all you're doing with power powers. So let's go through and review all these different properties. So this one just gives me a positive exponent, so I have to write these as positive and negative exponents, right? So this is just testing to see if I know the negative exponent rule. If I flip it across the fraction bar, so 1 over 31, I can change the sign to that, and that would be my answer. Okay, same idea with this one. It just gives me the negative third. I need a positive exponent, so I flip it across the fraction bar, becomes 7 to the third. Okay, 2 to the 0 power, anything to 0 power is 1. That's all you need to do there. 1 over 8 to the second, again, just flip it across the fraction bar, so it would be 8 to the negative second. 1 over 15 to the negative third, again, flip it across the fraction bar, 15 to the third. Okay, pretty tough so far, right? 250,675 to the 0 power is just 1, because anything to 0 power is 1. And there we get into the multiplying exponents. Again, you could realize this is 6 multiplied by itself 5 times, or you could think of them as each having an exponent of 1, and 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 5. So that would be 6 to the fifth. Now again, I need two answers. I need a positive and negative exponent. So I flip it across the fraction bar, becomes 1 over 6 to the negative fifth. Okay, and that would be my answers. This one, multiplying negative 3 plus 0, because that's our rule, right? When they're multiplying is you add the exponents, would just be negative 3, so 18 to the negative 3. Then I need to flip it across the fraction bar to get my positive exponent, 1 over 18 to the third. Okay, and those are my answers. Here we have 22 to the fifth plus negative 4 plus negative 8. So that would be 1. 1 plus negative 8 would be negative 7. So 22 to the negative 7, or 1 over 22 to the positive 7. And that would be your answers. Okay, again, we're adding 9 plus negative 3 plus 2 plus 1. If there's no exponent there, it's a 1. So 9 plus negative 3 is 6, plus 2 would be 8, plus 1 would be 9. So this would be 5 to the 9th, or 1 over 5 to the negative 9. Then dividing. Again, our rule here is to subtract the top from the bottom. So 9 minus 4 is 5, so 7 to the 5th, or 1 over 7 to the negative 5th. Because again, you just write that 9 minus 4 to get your exponent. Okay, same idea here, but I'm going to actually write it out first here, because this is where most of the mistakes happen, usually on this unit. When I do negative 4 minus a negative 10, when I subtract a negative, I end up doing the opposite. I end up adding, right? Turns into a big plus sign. So this would be like negative 4 plus 10, which would be 6. Okay, or as a negative exponent would be 1 over 11 to the negative 6. And that would be your answers. Same idea here, negative 3 minus 0 would just be negative 3, so 9 to the negative 3, or 1 over 9 to the 3rd would be the two answers there. 0 minus negative 8, so again I'm going to write this out, 0 minus negative 8. I am going to end up actually adding here, right? So if I add 8, it would be 14 to the 8, and then it would be 1 over 14 to the negative 8. Okay? The number you get on top here is going to be always the number that subtracts. Okay? It's going to be the one that's not a fraction, and then you flip it over to get the fraction one. Okay, looking on the back. We've got some multiplying here to do first before we divide. So we're going to add these exponents first. So 4 plus 6 plus 5. That would be 10, 15. So 12 to the 15 over 12 to the 3rd. Now we're going to do the subtract. Multiplying becomes before division, right? So 15 minus 3 would be 12. So 12 to the 12, or 1 over 12 to the negative 12 would be your two answers. Okay, same idea here. We're going to do some multiplying first. So this top, 7 plus 10 becomes 17. So 4 to the 17. And then 12 plus 6 is 18. Minus 2 would be 16. So I'd have 12 to the 16 on the bottom. Okay. Then I do 4 to the 16. Then I do my subtracting, so 17 minus 16 is 1. So I'd have 4 to the 1, or 1 over 4 to the negative 1 power. I could also just write this as 4, but this would have to be negative 1. Okay. This one, we're going to do the multiplying first, and this should be a 15. Should have fixed that while I was making the review. Oh well, too late. Just going to tell you right now, that should be 15. So, negative 3 plus 8 would be 5. So I have 15 to the negative 3 over 15 to the 5th. And then negative 3 minus 5 would be negative 8. Or 1 over 15 to the positive 8. Be your two answers. Okay, and you can kind of see that if you flip this down before I subtracted, because it's negative, it'd be like 15 to the 3rd times 15 to the 5th. When you add them, it'd be 15 to the 8th. Okay, here, powers. You're going to multiply the exponents, right? 17, or 6 times 0 would be 0. So we'd have 17 to the 0, which is just 1. Okay. Negative 2 times negative 4. So when we multiply, it's going to become positive 8. And then I write the negative exponent 5 to the negative 8. Okay. Multiply 7 and 7 becomes 21 to the negative 49 or 1 over 21 to the 49th power. And then this one, you're going to do your powers first and then multiply. So negative 2 times negative 6 is going to be positive 12. So 18 to the 12th. And then 2 times 0 is 0. 18 to the 0 is 1. So actually it is just going to be 18 to the 12th. Or 1 over 18 to the negative 12. Because you would just times this by 1 and you would just get this. Okay, so this would be your two answers. And we're going to do our powers first, and this one should be 18. Couple of mistakes there we didn't fix. So powers, we're going to multiply, we're going to get 18 to the negative 8 times 18 to the second times 18. And that would just be to the 1, right? Then you'd add your exponents. Negative 8 times 2 is negative 6, plus 1 is going to be negative 5. So 18 to the negative 5, or 1 over 18 to the 5th. Be your two answers. And then we're going to distribute to all the exponents, right? Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Times 4, negative 2 times negative 7 is positive 14. Times negative 2 times new is positive 4. And now we're going to add the exponents. Always do the powers first and then multiply. So negative 10 times 14 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. So 4 to the 8th, or 1 over 4 to the negative 8th would be your two answers. Okay? That's going to all the different properties. Then we also have the missing roots, or exponents. And this is going to be a ginormous number here, but if this is what the square root is, then this number would be the number that you multiplied by itself, right? So we would do 4913 squared to figure out what the number was, which is 2413759. Okay, so again, if you're missing what number you square rooted, you just have to do the opposite to get it back, right? Which would be to square the number to figure out what the number was that you square rooted. So that's a very large number. And then here, we're missing an exponent. So we're trying to figure out what number that would be. That would give me 6 here. Well, 4 plus 0 is 4, right? And then this is a 1. So 4 plus 1 is 5. So the missing number that would give me 6 would have to be another 1. So this box would just equal 1. Okay? Then, this one we are missing which kind of root it is. Is it a square root or a cube root? Well, to figure out what it is, we're going to find the cube root of 343. So cube root of 343 is 7, right? So now we're going to minus the 7 from each side, so minus 7. And that's going to leave me with some kind of root of 576 is equal to 31 minus 7 would be 24. So now I need to figure out if I square root 576, does it equal 24? Or do I cube root 576 and does it equal 24? So let's try square root first. Square root of 576 is 24. Okay, so that means this box has to be a 2. Okay, so if I figure out this is a square root that equals 24, then the box is a 2. If it was a cube root, it would equal 3. Okay, another missing box. So is it a cube root or square root? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the square root of 196. So the square root of 196, second square root of 196 is 14. Now this one is multiplying. So if I want to get rid of it, I would have to divide each side by 14. So 56 divided by 14 is 4. So, sorry, just kind of gave away the answer there. But the root of something is equal to 4. So is it a square root or a cube root? Well, the square root of 64 is 8. So that's not it. So let's try the cube root of 64. And that is 4. So that means this box has to equal 3. It's a cube root is the missing box. And that is how you do it. If you have any questions or concerns, ask your teachers. We're here to help. We want to help, and we'll see you out there.